It's been a little bit since I've done a video where I put my ugly mug out there. I guess I'll explain it. I went to the dentist last Thursday. They ended up doing a little bit of work on this side. The rearmost upper molar completely gone. They scraped out a little bit that they could. To get the rest of it, they're going to have to actually open me up and remove what's left in there. On this side, the dentist believes he can actually save these two teeth, which is great. Not sure how it's going to play out, but we'll see. Been on Percocet the past couple of days because he did have to numb this up to do some work. Feeling great, don't get me wrong. It's been I really can't remember the last couple of days. Not because I'm a junkie or anything, but because Percocet is just that good. And so the hope is that Veteran Services will get back in touch with me, rather with the dentist. The dentist can perform what's known as conscious sedation. And that is, I will be completely awake for the procedure, but I won't remember anything. So the hope is that we do that, because even though I have a really decent tolerance for pain, when it comes to my jaw, not so much. So we're going to get into the first story. You probably remember from last year DaddyOFive. Now, if you don't, the short and sweet of it is DaddyOFive was a YouTube channel in which the mother and father pretty much abused their 5 children, mainly the 2 youngest. There was one video in particular where they accused the youngest of writing on the walls or something, and they were just screaming. And it was like really painful to watch. And he's crying. There's no way it was a prank. He was crying. There's another video where the father actually took said youngest child and slammed him into a wall or a bookcase, I can't remember. And when the kid turned back to the camera, he's actually got blood coming down his nose. He had a bloody nose from it. And the parents claim that it was fake blood. It was all staged. Nothing actually happened. But the abuse became known within the community that the Department of Social Services in Maryland became involved. And the mother and father were charged with child neglect and child abuse. Now, the mother and father ended up pleading nolo contendere, which is no contest. It means that they agree that the state has enough evidence to prosecute and get a conviction, but it gives them the I really can't remember, the satisfaction of not having to admit guilt. It's still a conviction, but you're saving the taxpayers' money. And generally speaking, prosecutors and judges will agree to reduced sentencing if you do that. You're not wasting the court's time. You're not wasting taxpayer money. That's what happened here. They ended up getting 5 years of probation. I believe they're on probation until 2023. They lost custody of the 2 youngest children, and part of the plea deal is that they cannot make videos that use or mention the 2 youngest children. The 3 older ones, however, fair game. Child neglecting YouTubers still producing videos while on probation. The couple lost custody of 2 of their children after authorities investigated apparent emotional and physical abuse occurring on the family's YouTube channel. A couple convicted in Maryland of child neglect after operating a YouTube channel featuring the apparent abuse of their own children continue to upload videos featuring the remaining children living with them. The existence of the channels Family of 5 Gaming and Family of 5, hosted by convicted child neglectors Michael and Heather Martin, is attracting new online attention. It has sparked such an outrage that one discussion thread on Reddit had to be shut down. It was bad. That thread was bad. I am legitimately surprised it wasn't shut down sooner. It was not a pretty sight. The channels continue to feature pranks and other exploits of the Martins and their 3 remaining children. The couple lost custody of 2 other children after authorities investigated apparent emotional and physical abuse occurring on the family's popular videos uploaded to the DaddyOFive channel. The channel is still hosted by YouTube, although the offending videos have been removed. When the heat was on them, they actually got rid of a bunch of their videos because they didn't want to provide any ammunition for their detractors. They actually tried to say that it was all their haters that were coming after them. There was absolutely nothing to worry about. Their children were completely safe. There was no abuse going on. Ignore the man behind the curtain. And they were called on that for good reason. It wasn't a case of their haters hating on them or anything like that. They're just shitbags. they are stereotypical white trash abusing their children for popularity, to make money, because they don't want to actually work a real job. Okay, I've had to work a real job. I'm trying to get into YouTube. It's difficult to figure out what your niche is going to be, but I've worked a real job. I'm still trying to work a real job, but they don't want to do that. They'd rather live on the YouTube shekels and the welfare bucks. And this is why, even though I'm okay with the concept of a safety net for people who actually need it, like the disabled, when it comes to people like this who are just lazy, I'm not okay with it. In 2017, Michael and Heather Martin received probation in Frederick County, Maryland for misdemeanor child neglect after admitting the state had enough evidence to convict them. That's a nolo contendere. In Maryland is referred to as an Alford plea. The couple are serving probation in Maryland until 2022 and were specifically prohibited from making videos with the younger children who were removed from the home. No restrictions were placed on the 3 remaining children. The family appears to be living in West Virginia. Now, I'm not going to go into the rest of this. I am going to read, however, the mother, Heather Martin's response to WUSA 9. Our family has worked very hard to heal and reestablish ourselves over the past 18 months. Through a lot of hard work and introspection, we are all doing well and are happy. YouTube is something we enjoy as a family, and we will continue to do it within the strict boundaries we have set for ourselves. Having watched a couple of these videos, I'm fairly certain there are neither strict nor boundaries involved. For the sake of our privacy and continued healing, I have no further comment or anything past or present at this time. It's standard abuse. It's stereotypical abuse. When the younger children were around, it was easier to get people, or it was rather easy to get the rest of the family to pick on them because you're impressionable. Up until you're really about 25, you're very impressionable. The brain isn't completely wired properly. They are still doing their, quote, pranks, unquote, with the children. And these children are going along with it because they don't think they have anything better they can do. They don't want to become foster children. I understand that. And these parents are preying on those children. It's absolutely disgusting that this is happening. But here we are. Here we freaking are. I am at a loss for words when it comes to this shit. The Maryland court system really should have thought this through, and this lends ammunition to the naysayers who say that the courts really don't care as long as the prosecution gets a conviction. There's some truth there. There's some truth there because you look at something like this where the courts probably should have thought, oh, what about the older children? No, we don't care about that. And as somebody who is working towards a law degree and passing the bar, it saddens me to see this. It does. This is this is stereotypical white trash activity and abuse. More to the point, these people are monetized on YouTube. They fall right in line with the people who should not be monetized. There are alt-right figures like Mike Enoch who have syndicated shows on YouTube that are monetized despite blatant anti-Semitism and blatant racism whenever they're on. And yet you look at David Rubin, Jordan Peterson, you look at these people who aren't doing anything controversial and they're demonetized. We saw with Adpocalypse and Adpocalypse 2.0 that when YouTube has negative press thrown their way, they tend to overreact with the algorithms. A lot of channels are being demonetized because of a title name or something that a human doesn't look at. And they lose out on money they could be making on views until Trusted Flagger or an actual human looks over and says, no, this shouldn't be demonetized. But the damage is already done. And people like this are still making money on YouTube. And YouTube will come out and say, mea culpa, mea maxima fucking culpa. We'll try to do better later, next time. But people like this still, it only 10% of people never get caught. It's the 10% that are the problem. These are the 10%. If they had any kind of intelligence, they'd get a job. They'd work on building a cohesive family, seeking counseling, because these children are damaged goods right now. That entire family is damaged goods, but those children in particular, they're in trouble. And the family just doesn't care. Maryland and West Virginia need to step in. Those children should not be there. They took the two youngest children out of there. The older children should have been looked at as well. They weren't. I think there was like a psych eval. That was it. Maryland dropped the ball. They screwed the pooch here. They need to fix it. YouTube needs to look at this. They need to remove everything. They need to remove the Google AdSense. They need to remove any monetization they get. I am not someone who calls for deplatforming people or trying to cut off their revenue stream. But these people are actually hurting children, their children. I'm at a loss for how you can fix this issue without going after them like this, because the only way you're going to be able to do it is if you remove any incentive that this family has to stay on YouTube. Let's hope that they actually can do something to help these kids heal after the years of abuse they've had to endure.